Please stop using the pussy pad. We're doing our best here. So many East European names, right? We're actually going to have to course correct a little bit instead of looking like you have watermelons for an arm. Make the peach as ugly and as much of a dry apricot as possible. Yeah, like it shouldn't be this way. Hey Queen, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hi, hello, welcome. So nice to have you here. If you haven't yet, make sure that you click subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend, and comment something nice below for the girlies, because let's be real, this channel is only for the girlies, okay? It's just for the girlies. In case we haven't met yet, my name is Heini, and I am your favorite no BS wellness girly who is sharing useful tips and tricks on how to glow up, become that girl version of yourself, and how to actually just optimize your life so you can be effortlessly fit. So it's really, really nice to meet you. And I absolutely cannot wait for you to see the glute workout that I just filmed for you, because I just finished the exact workout that you're about to see that I just filmed. So I can't wait for you to see it. And this is actually part 4 of the Becoming That Girl series that I'm running across all of my social media channels. Week 1 was all about nutrition. So if you want to learn how to balance your nutrition, how to become effortlessly fit, toned, and not have to just diet every single summer and not have to worry about, you know, like having that slice of pizza and gaining weight, you might want to go back and watch that video because it is super, super useful. And then this week, I have already published the podcast episode about how to actually craft your training routines and how to stick to your training routines that make you effortlessly fit and help you tone up. So today we are going to look at how to get that snatched waist and how to actually train with intention and intensity. So I'll stop rambling now and let's get straight into today's glute and hamstring workouts that does not involve any hip thrusting whatsoever. I have just set up for Smith machine Bulgarian split squats, and this was for the girlies who love to use the foam pad thingy. Please stop using the pussy pad for anything like squats. Put the barbell onto your traps and onto the meaty bits of your body instead of your bones, and it's going to be totally fine, okay? Your body just has to get used to it, and yes, it is going to be uncomfortable at first, but you know, everything is uncomfortable at first before your body gets used to it. So just stop using the pussy pad, get rid of it, and literally just get under the barbell. But with that out of the way, we are going to get started on Bulgarian split squats on the Smith machine just to give us a little bit more stability. As you can see, I'm going to be elevating my front foot too, not just the back foot, because that allows you to go deeper than parallel to the ground. So that is basically what we're going to start with, and we're going to try to enjoy it. I like to start all of my sessions off with like the hardest thing, and in this session, Bulgarians are literally the hardest thing that I hate the most. So yeah, let's get into it. So I know that it's a little bit of an awkward angle to film from, but we are going to go up to 20 kgs per side, try to push the limits a tiny little bit. The goal here with the first exercise is really just to get fully warmed up, but also to get through the hardest exercise of the session and to really give our all here because we still have energy. So I'm going to slow it down on the way down to make it like 3 to 5 second negative, fingers crossed. I already set up the safeties over here to catch me if I fall, and then I'm going to try to stop in that bottom position where it's the most uncomfortable for a split second. Also, it's a very awkward angle to film from, so I'm so sorry that it's not like very aesthetically pleasing, but you know, we're doing our best here. So with that, let's get into our top set, and we're going to do 3 sets total, dropping the weight a tiny little bit every single set, aiming to add in 2 reps each set, going to failure every single one of these sets. Also, when it comes to single leg exercises, one thing that I want you to take into account, that if you do both legs back to back, you're literally going to develop an imbalance because you're going to be more out of breath, especially when it comes to Bulgarians, right? So instead of kind of like going back to back on both legs, take those sets that you have to do as separate sets per leg. So have about a minute of rest between your legs, or until your heart rate goes back down, so that you actually can recover and give your all to every single set. So I've done my right leg here. I'm going to wait a minute and a bit and actually start my workout because I forgot to start my workout. And then we are going to go into the left leg, take it one leg at a time, literally as if we were doing 6 sets, which are technically 3 sets, but per leg, you know. So for the last set, we're gonna add a little intensifier because weight-wise, it's not that challenging. My lungs can barely take it and my heart rate just goes like super, super high, super fast. So whenever I'm doing Bulgarians, my heart rate can hit like 170, 180, which is not healthy in the long term. So to help kind of like manage the load a little bit, it's still gonna be intense, but we're going to do 5 reps and 5-second hold on the bottom, and 5 reps again, 5-second hold, 5 reps again. So 15 reps total, lower weight, higher reps, as much time under tension as possible. And we're gonna move on to the next exercise. So enjoy watching me suffer. You know, I'd rather do the hard thing now, in the beginning, than when I'm super tired at the end of the session. So we gotta choose our hard. So next up we are doing hamstring curls, lying down to get some blood flow into the muscles. Just normal straight sets, nothing crazy. 3 of them, 6 to 8, 8 to 10, 10 to 12, dropping the weight down a little bit as the reps increase and going as close to failure as possible to get as much blood into my hamstrings as possible, because afterwards we're going to be doing B stance, we're going to be doing B stance, Romanian deadlift. So many East European names, right? And then take it from there, see how that goes. Can't wait for it. Honestly, it's one of my favorite exercises recently. Not hamstring curls, but B stance RDLs. We're actually going to have to course correct a little bit because the V squat here does not have enough room to do B stance RDLs, which was the original plan. So what we're going to do is we are going to go and do RDLs with the Pit Shark machine, but normal RDLs only. We adjust, we live, because that girl version of you does not get put off by not having a certain machine available or not having space in the gym. We adapt and we overcome, because at the end of the day, it's not the machine that matters. It is the muscle engagement and the movement pattern. So the RDL pattern is going to be the same for dumbbells, Pit Shark, barbell, V squat, and also Smith machine, but the only difference is where you load the movement. So basically that is the main difference. That is going to be the difference between all of these movements. So what we're going to do is we're literally just going to go on the shark bit machine and get some RDLs in that way, because we need to train our hamstrings, we need to grow our glutes, right? So when it comes to Romanian deadlifts, basically these do train your glutes, but mostly your hamstrings. So if you want to make it more glute biased, just keep your knees in one spot and think about folding as much at your hips as possible. If you want to feel it more in your hamstrings, then keep your knees soft and kind of like try to push your glutes instead of back. Push it towards the top ceiling, like the top corner of the ceiling. It genuinely is one of my favorite exercises, and it's just super cool to become stronger and stronger at it. What we're going to do after this, because we are saving time technically by doing both legs at the same time, what we're going to do after this is go back to your hamstrings and then finish off with some glutes. The reason for this is because for your glutes to look great, you need to train your hamstrings too. No matter what anyone says, no matter if, you know, you just want to grow your glutes. We don't want to look like we've got fake arts, right? We want to look healthy, we want to look athletic, and for that, you need to train your hamstrings too. So by training your hamstrings, you're also going to be able to train your glutes more, and you're just going to create a little bit more balance, a little bit more stability, instead of looking like you have watermelons for an ass and then sticks for legs. Not gonna lie, for like a long time, my hamstrings used to be like literally my weakest point because I had so many injuries and I'm so hypermobile. You know, it was my weakest point. I could not feel it in the full range of motion. So, you know, what hot girls do, we train our weaknesses so they can become strengths. So that is why I'm putting 2 hamstring exercises, like 2 hamstring isolations in here. One of them to bring blood into the muscle, which was obviously the lying down one. And now I'm doing the kneeling, so like standing up hamstring curl, and I'm keeping the weight really, really low. Here's one thing that I want you to remember whenever it comes to your training. That girl does not train heavy with shit form. That girl version of yourself trains with correct form, controls the movement, and doesn't just rush through their workouts. So for that, you might want to lower down your weights and focus on taking the muscles through the right range of motion. Instead of focusing on like, okay, how do I move this weight from point A to point B, focus on like, okay, what kind of muscle do I need to contract in what way to create the movement that is going to then move the weight. So instead of just trying to lift the weight, focus on creating the movement and then moving the weight with the movement. And last but not least, one of my favorite ever exercises recently, we're going to be using the glute ham raise for this, but you can very easily use sort of like a Roman chair extension too. We're going to do some froggy glute hip extensions. You can do this very, very easily on a Roman chair with your knees straight, but right now we're going to be in like a little frog position to get a really, really nice engagement. So I've prepped some weights for me. I'll show you exactly how I set up for this. The key here is to set this part of the machine, like where your legs are fixed, a lot shorter than you think you need it, and then turn out your feet. We're just going to do 3 sets, 3 drop sets specifically, and do about like 10 reps with 20 kgs in our hands, and then as many reps with body weight only as possible. Basically, my focus here is to push my heels down and keep my knees apart and literally only squeeze from my glutes. And something that has actually been like a really, really good cue for me is to basically think that there is a little pen between my glutes that I'm trying to basically just like break with my glutes. It sounds so silly, but it does work. And then even on the bottom, just don't release that pen from between your glutes, okay? From between your cheeks. Do not release that pen. We want to basically make the peach as ugly and as much of a dry apricot as possible so that it can grow. When we're training, our glutes are not supposed to look pretty, okay? If it looks pretty, it means that you're not training it the right way. So we're going to pop into your 2 more sets. And there you go, that was it. That was the whole glute and hamstring workout. As you could see, it's quite simple, quite easy to get done. But I actually wanted to sort of like have a little sit down chat with you about how to actually structure your glute workouts and why I structured it this way. Because a lot of the times I feel like, you know, we just take everything as is, and I will definitely include the whole workout in the description. So definitely check it out. But I just wanted to touch on a couple of things and the reason why I have started building out my workouts this way. Because normally speaking, and this is something that most personal trainers are going to be like, yeah, like it shouldn't be this way. I 100% get that you think that you have to start with compounds and then single limb and then isolation exercises. But if there is something that you're struggling with that you do not want to do, it's easier to get it out of the way first thing and then move on to the fun stuff that you actually enjoy doing. That is why I build my workouts this way. What I like to do is I usually choose 1 to 2 compound movements, 1 to 2 single limb exercises, and 2 to 3 isolations, depending on how much time I have. Now, as you could see in today's workout, the compound movement was technically the RDL and the Bulgarians were also obviously single limb exercises. And then I did single limb isolation on the hamstring curls, and also an isolation on the hamstring curls, and an isolation on the glutes. So technically that was only 5 exercises. And the reason why I actually like to keep it to a minimum amount of exercises, so 4 to 6 exercises maximum per workout, is because most of the time what I have noticed, and in the past I was so guilty of this, but what I've noticed is that whenever I put more exercises in there, I'm just anticipating having to do the next exercise. But if you literally just take every single workout as like, okay, I'm going to do the bare minimum that I need to get the maximum output and maximum outcome, and I'm going to do every single set intentionally, and I'm not going to do like 5, 6 sets of everything. I'm literally just going to take 2 to 3 working sets where I go to failure on every single set. You're going to get so much more progress than if you just like put the fluff into your workout. And as I said, like, I just want to become your favorite no BS wellness girly, because I have put myself through so much before I actually started doubling down on the habits that I needed to do, which was a decade ago. And I also help my clients to basically just remove the fluff, remove the BS, and focus on actually becoming their actual best selves, not just with regards to looks, but with regards to like optimizing their life. And if you are spending 2 to 3 hours in the gym, half-assing most of your exercises, you know, you're not going to get anywhere with it. So it's better to minimize the amount of exercises that you do to 4 to 6 exercises per session, and really just like be super intentional about them. So that is exactly why I build up my training sessions this way, and the reason why I started with the hardest exercises, because I just want to get it out of the way, because if you do the hard thing now, it's going to be easier later down the line. With that, I'm going to start wrapping it up here. If you are still watching and if you're still here, I hope that you have the most wonderful, amazing, best day ever. I love you so much. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it with a friend who needs to hear all of this info and who needs to learn about glute training and how to build their training program, and leave a nice comment below for the girlies, because let's be real, as I said, this channel is for the girlies. And with that, I love you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week for week 3 of becoming that girl before summer.